The college football experience, bombs down under reaction show, and look ahead at week 2 for college football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by the SGPN Free Roll Football Contest. Yes, join our free season-long pick'em with up to $3,000 in prizes and a Super Bowl autographed SGP helmet up for grabs. Sign up link is in the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. So grab that, and as always, folks, let it ride. We're also brought to you by the Game Time app. Snag tickets without the stress. Use the promo code CFBX on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app. Once again, the promo code CFBX. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, play Underdog Pick'em in college or NFL and win up to 20 times the amount in one game. All right, use the promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Once again, that is 100% deposit bonus up to $100 with the promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Use the promo code SGP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any NFL game. Only on the DraftKings Sportsbook app with the promo code SGP.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Bombs down under from Las Vegas. Let's go. All right, what a week one as the college football week one came to, I feel like 5 straight days of college football, right? As it came to a crashing end as the Duke Blue Devils pulled off a big upset against the Clemson Tigers. We're going to react to a wild, wild week of college football, which had multiple 20-point dogs hit on the money line. That is why we love good old college football. And we're going to take a look ahead at week 2 as well. Some big-time rivalries on the slate. But before we do that, you're probably wondering just who the hell you're listening to. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
I mean, in this case, I like to pretend it did happen because it did. All right? It really did. Yes, I hope you tailed me on the Wyoming Cowboys money line. I hope you tailed me on the Colorado Buffaloes money line and a lot of other good ones. We were fire. Actually, I'm 120 and 60 according to the fine people over at Tally Site. I think that's good. Anyway, look, I'm just sitting here in Vegas. Lovely Blue Wire Studios. Shout out to everyone behind the scenes making this happen. But, it's my first, I think, full solo show. Even though we got a guest, feels naked here. Feels like I'm at an ACC home football game, right? It's kind of empty. But hey, we're here. We're talking college football. I'm so excited for week 2. And I am joined, and I'm honored to have this guy on. Look, he didn't make the trip with us this trip, but he's going to be coming back. And look, if you listened last week on a Monday there, we had the Bombs Down Under. He is the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. They call him the man in the box, and he was giving out some fire plays as well. We're going to talk all about it. I give you folks C.J. Sullivan. How you doing, man?
Great, Dundee. Thank you. Sorry you're there by yourself, but someone had to stay behind at the studios and sign for the packages that come in, and Make sure the mail gets sorted. I got to flush the toilets on Wednesdays, I'm told. Make sure the pipes don't get stacked. Yeah, a lot of important duties back here, too, at the home office. So, but, I'm sure Vegas is great. I'm sure Vegas is great. I'm sure you guys are having a good time.
Look,
they just left me alone in the box. That's what they do. I'm like the fucking guy. I'm like Macaulay Culkin back here.
Buddy, look, I haven't had a chance to talk to you since week one. Yeah. I know somehow our Texas over didn't hit, but what a fantastic week of football. And I know you somewhat backdoor to cover with the Louisville Georgia Tech game. You care to talk about that?
That was a beautiful backdoor cover. I kind of wind that away. Louisville should have won that one. I mean, Georgia Tech should have won that game outright. Flat out. And then next thing you know, they're breaking. Then they're missing. They're turning it over inside the 20, 80-yard run. Next plays at 3 minutes to go, and so I cried to you because I knew you were all over Louisville and you were going to get a ridiculously ugly cover. And then Georgia Tech came and backdoored it.
You thought I had it. You thought I had it. I knew they were going to go to prevent. I feel like you jinxed me on the bet, but
wow!
I
did a double reverse jinx. It was a dirty technique on my part. I apologize for that part. But I got hit hard with the Rice Texas over, and I think even worse. I think our greatest upset pick that I was upset about was Bowling Green, who absolutely dominated Liberty. I mean, he dominated them. If you take away the 5 interceptions and 1 pick six, which kind of made it gross, and then they lose by 10. Getting 9.5. I mean, that was the grossest one too, because I had Bowling Green everywhere.
Well, I hope you tailed me on the Colorado Buffaloes because I mean I feel like that was the easiest handicap. We come in.
That was great.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I.
Not only that, I was in gaming it too. Each break, 15, sure, or whatever, 14, sure. I don't care what your number is.
Yes.
I'm taking Colorado. Are you watching this team? Like this is like that's not the 1-11 team. He fired all those guys. He brought in a whole new company to play for this. I mean, it was incredible.
What?
I love this whole. I think that's the whole new trend of celebrity coaches. Why not?
Yeah.
Because what player wouldn't want to play for Deion Sanders?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So you might as well get.
Old Dominion should hire Michael
Get Jay-Z to coach. Get Dave Chappelle to coach a team. You know what I mean? Have all where players want to go. It'd be amazing.
Oh, I think so. Boston College, I feel like Bill Burr could probably coach better than anyone in like the past 20 years at Boston College. So
yeah, I think the key is you got to wait till their kids are old enough to play, and that's how you recruit them. Say, listen, your kid gets a full ride, but you got to be the head coach. And just get players to come. Because otherwise they're too rich. They don't want to coach. But Deion's got a bunch of kids he wants to coach. So, it's a package deal. I like it.
Folks, look, I think CJ's onto something here. But, look, we're going to go game by game trying to – well, not game by game, but conference by conference essentially talking about week one and then take a look ahead at some of the stuff we like week two. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience, Bob's Down Under, is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Yes. I mean, can you believe we've had 7 months without an NFL game? What's going on? It just sounds crazy when you say it like that. Well, good thing that's over because the NFL is here now, all right, with DraftKings Sportsbook, and that's an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and it's giving you a can't-miss offer for week one. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game. What? That's a bargain right there. $5? Come on. Everyone's got $5. If not, you ask your wife, your girlfriend, your mom, whatever. You could get $5. You could be like one of those Iowa football players. Mom, can you place the bet for me, please? All right, $5, right? DraftKings is hooking everybody up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Check the app to see what you get. But, absolutely fantastic deal. Download the app now. Use the promo code SGP to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly once again just for betting $5. Are you kidding me? That's promo code SGP only on the DraftKings Sportsbook. official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours, people. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. We're also brought to you by the Game Time app. Yes, buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be so stressful, all right? I've done it a million times, all right? You go, you think you got it, and boom, shouldn't be stressful. It should be fun, all right?
I know.
Should be a lot of fun. You should be getting cherry bombed, saying, I'm going to the event, all right? And that's, right? I mean, I feel, look, I was in.
Yeah, and you should know the seat you're getting, too, You should be able to look at it. I don't want some old, scalper. You can still call them scalpers, right? They look at you, that's fine, no obstruction, Then you go up to the window. It's for a ticket 3 weeks from now, and it's the ice capades, and you're sitting behind a pole.
That's true.
And that's all the stress and anxiety you want.
I even enjoy that, too. Like, I've had the buddy that has gotten burnt on the ticket. Like, that was from, 3 years ago. Fantastic.
Right.
Fantastic. But still, honestly, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy buying old tickets from the scalper.
And if you ever want to hear a hearty laugh, you go up to the cops with that scalp ticket. You go, sir, this guy sold me a ticket from 3 years ago, and they will laugh in your face. Like, yep, you got to be careful. What can they say?
I remember that game.
People out here.
I remember that game. Roethlisberger scored threw 4 touchdowns that game.
I shot a guy after that. It was great.
Folks, that's why there's a better way out there. And it's Game Time. The Game Time app is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all things sports, music, comedy, theater, all that stuff that's near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you'll be having at that very event. All right? And forget planning months in advance. What's that ever done for any successful person? All right? Nothing. All right? Look, Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event, to the second of the event, I think. The Game Time guarantee, also, fantastic thing they got going. Get this. It means you're always going to get the best price. In fact, if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. 110% of the difference. Are you kidding me? Fantastic deal, folks. So, once again, check out the Game Time app and, download it, create an account, use the promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Just giving you deals left and right. Terms apply. Once again, create an account, CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we are back on the college football experience at CJ Sullivan. I got so many things I jotted down here on my flight out to Vegas this morning, but I think the first thing we got to start with is the Clemson Tigers. Because what the hell is happening to Dabo? I know for years, they were paying people through the church, but what happened? Did the church close? What happened?
Church closed. Everything came back. The chickens came home to roost. All I know is Dabo Swinney is so hated that he made a country come together and even become Duke fans just to root against Dabo Swinney. We're like, hell, Duke football, that got to be kind of be harmless. As long as you're not basketball or, God forbid, lacrosse, we'll root for you, Duke. Just beat that goddamn Dabo Swinney. And Dabo's quotes afterwards are hilarious. Like, it was a strange game. I don't know really what happened. He's just like, I mean, it was a little. I mean, they looked terrible. The offense looked outdated. Why even bring in, Riley's brother? They said I'm going to have him run the Clemson offense. They're going to call it they didn't even say we're not doing the air raid. We're doing the ground raid. What?
Yeah, I'm surprised he even took it. Right? I mean,
I know.
I read that. I didn't see that until yesterday. Before the game, when people were showing that, it's like, no, we're going to have him run the Clemson offense. I'm like, what? This guy just went to the national championship last year, running his offense. What are you doing here? And why would he take
TCU offense? Yeah. Why would you want that? Too many points in that offense. We don't like that. We like to keep it in control. And then, in their defense, that was a pretty wild turn of events there. First to go from the 3, fumble, blocked field goal 20, fumble on the 10. It almost seemed like, if you were to look up a game that was fixed, that would be the byline. Like, wait, they kept fumbling the ball and going into the end zone this.
Well, no, you could play it the other way around though. Duke fumbled a punt the 11-yard line for Clemson, and then also right before the half, you're looking like you're going to get a field goal. You're doing the safe call, running the ball, and the Duke running back fumbles the ball. So, I mean, you could shake it either way, but I can tell you one thing, man.
Absolutely. Duke should have won. Duke definitely should have been winning at halftime, and that should have been a blowout. But Clemson looked bad.
They really did. And to me, I find this hilarious because, this is a guy who says, we're never going to use the portal, with the exception of, I think he brought in Bear Bryant's grandson as a backup quarterback, fourth string backup quarterback this year. But, I mean, at what point? You saw that they would never fire offensive coordinators, but they sent their OC from a year ago, Brandon Streeter, out of here. And now they bring in Garrett Riley, but they're not even going to fully use the Lincoln Riley / Garrett Riley air raid offense.
He's got to learn. He's got to learn the ways of Clemson and the church, and they got to baptize him after practice or something, so he can learn how to run a quarterback draw from 3rd and goal 12.
I mean, this is a big storyline because look, I came in having Clemson ACC champs. I did take Duke in the points. But I thought
nice bank.
I thought that was the best possible time to get Clemson was week 1 when they're installing this offense and everything. But once again, with some of the storylines the remarks that were said, it makes me question in general. And then you see how good Florida State looks against the LSU Tigers, and you're sitting there saying, "Oh shit!" I mean, I know Florida State hasn't beaten Clemson for a long time, and there's been some big blowouts in those games with fans reading spy novels in the stands. But man, I mean, right now after watching Sunday and Monday, you got to think that Florida State's the odds-on favorite in the ACC, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that was another one where we all became Florida State fans too, just to watch Kelly and his family lose. And that was a great victory. I mean, first of all, LSU looked like they quit in that game, and I did look like and I did like Kelly's comments on who we thought we are. We thought we were Georgia or something. But I think one poll came out that had Florida State number 1 this week, and they definitely had the most impressive victory. But I don't know if I go that far. But yeah, they're definitely the clear-cut favorite for the ACC. I mean, Clemson looked like they were. Clemson already looks like they're 5 years behind, and it's only been one so-so subpar season in this game.
Yeah, so the LSU game is the game that I think I got. I feel like most of week 1 and week 0, I pretty much had an identity in my mind of what I thought each team was going to look like. Clemson, like I said, I thought Duke was going to play Clemson really close. So I was all over Duke in the points. I felt very confident about LSU against the likes of Florida State. And so LSU is the team that I think I was most off of out of any school out of 133 in the nation. They looked terrible to me. Yes, the first half, I know they were winning 17-14 and probably should have been winning 28-14. But, man, how many 4th and inches, 3rd and inches, 2nd and inches where you're out of the gun, which drives me absolutely fucking crazy. But you're out of the gun, and they couldn't get any push on the Florida State defensive line. And I mean, Brian Kelly, I thought terrible coaching, but at the same time, I was shocked at really their game plan and the fact that their offensive line got bullied and the fact the way they used Perkins on the defensive side.
Heartless.
Yeah, they really did, especially in the second half.
Getting knocked around. Yeah, second half, they looked like they just quit. And I'm like, how can you do? I don't know. It was pretty early on for that, and they messed up a lot in the red zone as well. A couple fumbles and 4th downs or whatever down there. They should score more, but even then, that doesn't. I mean, it doesn't count for the annihilation, which was that 4th quarter.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I got to apologize to Florida State fans because you were way better than what I thought they were. But this, actually, I was thinking about this.
They'll fall apart. The same thing as last year. Although I will say this year's victory is definitely different than last year's. Last year's, it seemed like, okay, they got lucky with that victory.
Yeah, 100%.
Bigger things are to come. Florida State looked back. They looked like the old Florida State. They had athletes everywhere running around.
Yeah, and look, I was sitting there watching the game. And they're announcing the starting lineups on the offense and on the defensive side of the ball for the Seminoles. And I'm sitting there, thinking, okay, well, everyone's calling out Deion for bringing in all these transfers. I literally went one by one on the players that I knew. I feel like their whole starting lineup for Florida State is transfers. Yeah. You're like Jordan Travis was at Louisville. Their running back, Benson from Oregon. Their top 3 wideouts from Michigan State, Arizona State, West Virginia. Their tight end is from South Carolina. The multiple offensive linemen, UTEP, Colorado, Auburn, And you're just sitting there like, well, why is Deion getting all this shit if their whole team is transfers?
Right.
But,
It's a different era.
It really is.
He brought guys from Jackson State. I mean, he didn't really go full on the way they're talking like they think he did. But you're right. Like Florida State and his other schools, they're much worse. I mean, not worse. It's the way the system is now. But, there's plucking absolute starters from schools of and places hurt and making your own all-stars.
And the only difference is they did it over 2 or 3 years. So they did like 30 players per year. And the fact that Deion did like 75 in 1 year is probably what's stealing the headlines.
He did it all at once. He rushes. He left the party all immediately. You got to stagger it so no one knows. You know what I mean? You bring in 10 or 20. That's what say. Hey, are they still around? Like, no, I think they left. But when there's 60 of you all at once, like, okay, there's no hiding that.
Well, let me ask you this: heading into, so obviously we know Florida State's got to head to Clemson, South Carolina, end of September.
Right.
I mean, Clemson's got this long win streak over Florida State. That's a tough environment. They don't lose often in Clemson. What would you lean right now? What would you set that line at?
I imagine the look-ahead line of that game before this weekend was going to be something like Clemson minus 4 to 6 range. But after this weekend, I can't imagine them putting a number up like that. So I'd probably have a Clemson minus 1 to 2.5 at the most. Maybe under a field goal.
Yeah, I mean, I might even favor Florida State at this point, even though.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, who's going to bet Clemson after that last night and not take Florida State in that game? If that game's this week, Florida State's 3.5-point favorite on the road.
Yeah, and then let's look at
Clemson will have a few weeks to show themselves to get themselves right a little bit, I believe.
And then let's look at the other side of this coin. Is the Duke Blue Devils. Unbelievable win. Mike Elko comes in year 1. I think they were 17 points away from being undefeated. And now year 2, they bring back, I think, 18 or 19 starters from that team. Riley Leonard, who people are projecting first or second round NFL draft pick. I mean, this is a team that I feel like everyone thought, well, they got lucky. They were in the Coastal. And now that there's no divisions, and boom, what a first win.
Right.
And I think people got to start thinking that the Duke Blue Devils are a legit contender in the ACC, especially now that they have the tiebreaker against the Clemson Tigers.
I mean, they look good. And then that was a peak. They were ready for that moment, and that's what that stadium. Did you see when they rushed the field afterwards? It was very orderly, concise, very scholarly. They worked the red zone better. The Duke fans worked the red zone better than Clemson's offense.
Very true. Very true. But, yeah, unbelievable.
That quarterback looked great. They got their own little Daniel Jones. That run was amazing. And then he asked for his teacher for an extension. I mean, what a story these Duke kids are.
I mean,
but, yeah, they got to crack the top 20, right?
I would think. I mean, this is my problem with preseason polls. I've already seen that Clemson is still ranked ahead of Duke. And I'm like, well, what the hell did we watch last night?
Right.
What did we watch last night?
What's the point of these things?
Yes.
What's the point of these things?
It drives me crazy. Don't get me started. But looking at, even the Duke Blue Devils won 28-7 last night. You couldn't help but notice even Duke, where I feel like, in this transfer portal era, Stanford's and Northwesterns and Dukes, they have a harder time in the portal because of their academics. Like you mentioned, Riley Leonard saying he's got a class. At Florida State, they just look the other way. Well, you don't have a class tomorrow. No, you don't. Yeah. No, you don't.
Florida State quarterback's not asking for an extension during his interview with Lisa Salters.
But I mean, Duke.
Tracy Wolfson.
Duke, what I noticed is multiple. Their left tackle, Stanford transfer. I think they had another offensive lineman that's a transfer. Al Blades, with a famous Blades related to the old Benny Blades and Brian Blades, made a big play. They also had a 7th-year transfer from Texas A&M in the secondary, make a key play at a key point in the game. Drawing a blank on his name right now. But my point is if Clemson, if Clemson just looks across the field, Duke is even utilizing the portal. Why is Clemson not? Like, it's got to be at the end of the year they change their way on this. I would just be amazed at the fact that, they would not do this. You can get your Clemson, you know what I mean? You can get guys.
Yeah, I think they will eventually. Obviously, he's a year. It kind of reminds me of Saban, before he embraced the spread offense. It took him a couple years of getting beat by it. before you finally, because you have your moral high ground, and then you get beat by it. Like, okay, let's try that out. Same with Coach K of Duke basketball with one and done players. He would say you never win. Like, oh well, you might as well since they are the best players in the country and they finally do it. So they're always all those leaders like that. They're always a couple years behind the curve when it comes to that because they can afford to be. So I think they'll definitely hit the transfer portal, but they have to. You can't. I mean, it's the way the game is. Look at Deion. Deion doesn't even. He's never stepping on a high school complex again in his life. He doesn't care about freshmen coming in and recruiting. Who gives a shit? We got real players out here across the country. I'll just get 70 sophomores to come in.
Oh, man. And
as long as he should,
Yeah, you're making me laugh, man. And yeah, I mean, how about the ACC though? I mean, you got North Carolina taking down South Carolina.
Carolina looked great, by the way. They might even have a defense. Where'd that come from?
Yeah. I don't know what the hell happened there. Mac Brown, words of Chisholm, Gene Chizik got the defense playing, and all of a sudden, so you got North Carolina taking down South Carolina. You got Florida State putting it on at LSU. And now you have a Duke team that looks like it's a contender. All of a sudden, the conference looking a lot deeper than say we thought it was not just 2 weeks ago. With the exception of Boston College, who lost to Northern Illinois.
Well, we had that though.
Yeah, we were on. I was on Northern Illinois money line. I had this.
All those MAC teams up week one. This is the best week one I've ever had. I feel like where I was on the money line with I think they were 9.5 point dogs. I also was on ULM money line against Army as Army tried running out of the shotgun. That ain't gonna work. All right, I tried telling you folks, it ain't gonna work. And then obviously Colorado, Wyoming, just a magical week of college football. Beautiful. Nothing. You can't repeat that bank enough. 42-1. You parlayed at Colorado and Wyoming money line.
Let's go. All right. Look, folks, we're going to talk more about some other conferences, some other teams. But before we do that, I want to tell you that we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy is a way to play alongside your favorite football team all season long. All right, with their fantasy pick'em game, you pick between 2 to 5 players, select whether they'll go higher or lower on one of their stats. Then you do what you usually do on your Sundays. You sit back and you watch the games, baby, all right? You can win up to 20 times the amount of money in a single game by going for 5 for 5, essentially. It's a fantasy game, but you can win real money, all right? I'll tell you about a dog that I like right now for this upcoming college football. You want to stay giving out 20-point dogs? I think Eastern Michigan's live. I think Eastern Michigan is live in Minneapolis, all right? So, all right, watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little extra cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, UnderdogFantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN.
Love it.
We're also brought to you by Free Roll Football Contest. Yes. Look. Free season-long NFL Pick'em contest. $1,000 for first place, $500 for second place, and if you're a Patreon member for the NFL season, those prizes double. So $2,000 for first place, $1,000 for second place. Plus, if you're a Patreon member, you not only get that contest, but you also get an autographed full-size Sports Gambling Podcast helmet, which includes guests like Joe Theismann, Bill Romanowski, Pac-Man Jones, John the Spider Sally, Eric Metcalf, LeGarrette Blunt, etc. Sign up. Link is in the SGPN app, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon, to get in, for your chance to double your prizes and win the weekly patrons pick'ems. So check us out. And remember, as always, to let it ride. Yeah, I mean, look, I know Eastern Michigan, I just think's live. I think they're live.
I love you. You're feeling confident with them 20-point dogs.
Hey,
sprinkle them out there.
All
Don't
I'm
even
saying,
need the 20. That's an outright.
All I'm saying, man, is Chris Creighton's got a knack for knocking off. Last year it was Arizona State. He got Herm Edwards fired. He went down to Tempe, beat him. The year before, it was a Big Ten school. I think it was Illinois the year before. Or if not, it was Purdue. One of the two. Right? But they've knocked off Purdue, Illinois, Rutgers. Minnesota's next. The Minnesota that I saw against Nebraska, got a lot of question marks for me. I think their defense is still solid, but I think Eastern Michigan is solid on the defensive side. So I think they'll be able to, perhaps, bottle up that Minnesota passing attack that put up a nice 13 on the board last week. So you get 20 and a half. They're a live dog. Chris Creighton's got a history of doing it. Sign me up, folks. But look, let's.
How's Minnesota going to score 20 points in general? What do you even, how are they even going to get to that number?
Yeah, they say they got the Greek rifle. I don't know about that. I don't know. That rifle's jammed. All right.
That's a musket. It's more of a musket.
Yeah. So some of the other things I wanted to hit on, and I know we want to look ahead at college football week 2, but the SEC is 1-3 against Power 5 schools, with the one win being probably over the worst. If you ask Patty C, I think he would say them or Northwestern would be the worst Power 5, and that would be the Virginia Cavaliers. So Tennessee put it on the Wahoos, but after that you have Utah with their third and fourth string quarterback beating the piss out of the Gators.
Terrible.
Then you have North Carolina, South Carolina, and the LSU Florida State game. Do you think this is a trend that will continue to happen, or do we expect a bounce back week with the likes of Texas A&M heading to Miami Gardens to take on Mario Cristobal, and Ole Miss heading to Tulane to take on Willie Fritz, and then I think there's obviously the Alabama-Texas matchup. Also Auburn heading out to Berkeley to take on the California Golden Bears, another ACC team somehow, and also Arizona taking on Mississippi State. Do you think this is a trend that stays, or do you think this is, hey, this is a 1 week wonder, SEC bounces back and gets back to winning football games?
Yeah, it's tough when it comes to the SEC because they're their own religion. They're their own entity. They're like Texas with America, just in general. They don't care about the rest of the country. They don't believe in it. They certainly dismiss them. And so week 1 is definitely a tough barometer, but usually they do show up stronger than that. And they are the hunted now, and they've been kind of fat and sassy. So I do think they bounce back, especially with a couple of those games that you mentioned. Although Ole Miss is definitely in for a fight there in Tulane. But I definitely think the disparity has come down. I mean, if you ask me, top to bottom, of course SEC is still top heavy with Georgia and Alabama, but top to bottom, I would say our favorite conference, the decimated Pac-12, might even be better than the SEC.
Well, I think you got to say that right now, because look at this. The Pac-12's undefeated first week, folks. As a conference, that is the first undefeated first week for a conference in over 40 years. Repeat, over 40 years. I mean, this is the perfect metaphor for what college football is. Right? As much as I love college football, I think it's the greatest form of football on the planet. But hilarious that the conference that's getting just picked apart and it's going to be gone.
They're blowing them up.
Just had the greatest first week. And need I mention that the fact that Colorado was on the road, Washington State was on the road, Oregon State was on the road, Stanford was on the road. They did this with 4 road teams, at other spots. Unbelievable and hilarious that this is happening. But I think right now you'd have to say the Pac-12, especially a lot of them were double-digit wins. I think Colorado was like the only close one. Yeah.
All going away, right? Yeah, and they did that as 20-point dogs in Texas. So, and they all look great. Hell, you take Clemson's awful quarterback, you put him in Oregon State, all of a sudden he works again. So
all of Clemson's,
also looked incredible.
I mean, Jacksonville State's quarterback Zion Webb, 2-0.
Yes.
Billy Wilkes or Billy Wiles, I think his name is, with Southern Miss. 1-0. I mean, it was Alcorn State, but then you jump over DJU. Getting it done.
You look great.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So, and the rest of Pac-12, even the top. I mean, you got USC and Washington and Oregon, the top 3 right there. I mean, obviously, Bama and Georgia didn't they weren't tested at all. They didn't look ideal, but I'd put them right up there with them right now, even the top heavy. But when you go top to bottom, it's not even close right now. It's close, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pac-12 is better.
The Washington Huskies, I thought, had the best win of the Saturday. That doesn't obviously.
Florida. And they didn't even play great. And they didn't even play well. That first half, they played terrible.
Yeah,
they
poured it on late. They poured it on late. That offense. And look, that's not. I'm saying the best on Saturday. Sunday, obviously, the LSU Florida State game. I think Florida State stole the headlines as probably the best on-field performance. But I'll say this: watching the second half of that Washington game, I was watching with Patty C, and I'm sitting there like, it reminded me of like Warren Moon back in the day with the Oilers because every play, even like the incompletions, were like a guy's open. Maybe he didn't. Maybe the timing was off on the route or something. But 35 yards down the field, I mean. That offense is super electric, man.
They're a ready-for-made product. Like, there's no, like, wait till they click, give them a couple weeks to adjust. They're ready right now. They're a veteran. They brought everything back with Penix, of course. You drop them down now. You do not want to play them right now. You need to get your ducks in a row and get everything lined up before you face Washington. This month of Washington, you face them, they're going to light you up. I mean, they're in playoff form.
The Michigan State Spartans play them in 2 weeks. Now, luckily for Sparty fans out there, it's on Peacock, which you probably won't be able to watch. But hey, don't worry. It's better than it's a step up from the Pac-12 network.
Well, the bar owners aren't going to figure it out. They got to get a third party involved and stream a new channel. They can try a trial update. Then you got to set the date in your phone app calendar when to cancel it, so you don't get paid $9.99 a month for stars or some shit. It's a whole thing. For those Walmart Wolverine fans up there. That was Michigan game was on Peacock last week, and they were throwing a fit.
Oh, my East Carolina Pirates, that hit for me. That was great. East Carolina covering the 36.
I had them. Beautiful. No sweat whatsoever. Not only at ECU, and I love them again this week, by the way. Not the weekend.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Oh, yeah.
I love them outright.
Oh, yeah.
But now I'm also going to toss this into the season here of the Down Under Bombs, but the week after the Pirate effect, the plunder, if you will, and Michigan's got to play UNLV this week, 36.5. Are you kidding me? We all know how rowdy those UNLV fans are on Twitter. Watch out for that game because Michigan just had to face ECU. That's little letdown, I'm saying.
Oh, that was great. These Twitter fans coming at us after we previewed the UNLV. And look, I bet the hell out of the under on 6 wins. Now, they beat the Bryant Bulldogs, but they're coming at us, and they were saying that I was saying Boise State is, what I was saying is they play Idaho State. I was looking back at last season. UNLV beat Idaho State.
They hear what they want to hear.
They heard Boise State, and they're coming at me saying that I don't know the difference between Idaho State and Boise State. I'm like, okay. But anyway, shout out to those UNLV fans. They get super pissed if you call them running rebels.
They're passionate. I respect it. I know, yeah. They didn't get your joke of calling them the running rebels.
Yeah.
That was still,
love it. Love the fact.
A lot of things.
But
people like that hear what they want.
Yeah,
and they did take us to task for not pronouncing Polynesian names correctly. I'm sure.
Hold on, I want to hit on a couple more things. The Big 12, tough week for the Big 12, but subscribe to the Big 12 experience. But Baylor loses as 28-point favorites, 27.5-point favorites.
Good God!
GJ Kinney and the Texas State Bobcats, who now. Watch out, they head to UTSA this weekend. Might be a live dog yet again after UTSA lost to the Houston Cougars. Baylor
I was definitely disappointed. I was definitely disappointed in UTSA that game versus Houston, though, by the way. I mean, even though it was 17-14, they never had a chance in that game. They just couldn't. Yeah. It was ridiculous.
They missed Zachary and Franklin.
They're bringing back.
Yep.
I know.
I was on the Houston Cougars. I told you they're not going to lose in those uniforms. Those uniforms. Yeah, those uniforms.
It became a no play once I saw those uniforms.
Yeah,
for sure.
Those things were fire. Absolute fire.
Those Love You Blues. Absolutely. that said, it's a great situation for UTSA. You have the letdown for Texas State beating Baylor, and
true.
UTSA laying that egg.
And folks, remember,
12 seems like a line for them.
Yes. And folks, remember tomorrow we're going to pick every single game. Myself, Patty C, NC Nick, the college football experience,
yes.
But. So Baylor loses, TCU loses, and Texas Tech and West Virginia, but we knew Dub V was going to lose. They were 20-point dogs. But the only thing that really – even Texas didn't even look that good. As I know we both lost money on the Texas Longhorns.
Yep.
But the only thing that kind of saved them was the 4 new schools to the Big 12, UCF, right. Houston, BYU, and Cincinnati, because all of them looked pretty impressive, maybe with the exception of BYU. Yeah. BYU won 14-0. Classic. I love that score. You know, I love a game like that. And, but what do you think of this Big 12 right now?
Yeah, not a good weekend for them. But you're right. The new blood did look good. But although, I don't know. I mean, obviously Texas and Oklahoma are your top two. Texas Tech, even though they did lose it, we knew that game was that game was trouble, you know.
Yeah.
And even though they were up 17-0 on that game, that just smelled like trouble. Congratulations for the Wyoming money line. Great. It was a great game, but it was the look ahead spot to the Jerry World game that got over versus Oregon. I think Texas Tech will be fine. I think Texas will be fine. Other than that, I don't know. We'll see. K-State looked good, Kansas, but yeah, they're definitely in flux. Like I said, I mean, you know, it's the Pac-12's world, Colby. Everyone else is just trying to find a spot somewhere, trying to find an identity.
Perfect for college football in 2023. Pac-12 is going to have its best season in 25 years, and then boom, we're going to detonate that conference. Unbelievable.
But I will say real quick about TCU there, though, losing there. Obviously, they lost to Colorado, and they lost a lot from the championship game. But even if they didn't lose, those people, that was a defense that was giving up 50 points a game last year in the last 3 games too. And they obviously did not fix that. So I mean, I don't expect good things from them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I look, I'm on the under with TCU. I think a lot of people were on the over, thinking it was their win total was lower. I'm on the under, and I'm looking all right. But let's talk about the other side of that. What do you think the ceiling is for the Colorado Buffaloes?
I mean, like I said, it's the turnover is you can't understand it. I mean, they're bringing number 1 players in the country. You know, it's a completely different company. Bringing Justin Hunter, that's not, you know,
Travis Hunter. Yeah.
Travis Hunter. I'm sorry, has nothing to do with a 1-11 team. You know, they have talent out there. At the same time, you know, the defense is going to be rough. The line is still going to be rough, you know, and they are getting it to come together. So I don't think they're going to run the table. I mean, those numbers are all gone. Though. It went from 3.5 to 5.5.
I don't think they'll run the table. But what do you think? Do you think a bowl is much more reasonable now after seeing them?
For sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Absolutely. Why not? There's talent.
You look at
Here's good. They're good.
You look at the Nebraska team that they saw. Now I know it's a rivalry game. You throw the record books out. Same with Colorado State, but those are winnable games. The next 2, then they head to Eugene. Then they, you know, I fully expect them to lose in Eugene, but then they host USC in a game that I think could be fucking bonkers. And then you know, after that, they got Arizona State, Stanford. They got some winnable games. Before, you know,
October 28th, they come to the Rose Bowl, where we hopefully will be outside, stationed up. We're trying to do something for that. You know how the students paper those tickets. There will be no home field advantage, but we'll be out there.
Oh yeah,
we'll be out there for the UCLA Colorado game, 28th. We said that before the schedule came out. Yeah, I don't see why they can't win 7-8 games for sure.
Yeah, me too. I think it's one of the more fascinating stories in college football. They also have a trip to Pullman in late November, which will always be tricky. And, you know, speaking of that.
It's not just the athletes he's got out there, too. The coordinators Deion set up, too. You know what I mean? Like,
Sean Lewis hire. That's what sold
absolutely.
Me. That's what sold me. You know, no disrespect to Deion Sanders. He's a Hall of Famer. But, you know.
No, I'm not dismissing it. And it's similar to, like, when Jimmy Johnson was the head coach. He hired the great coordinators. You guys run those game plans, and, you know, he oversees it. That's what a captain does, you know. He can't be deeply involved in the plays, you know, either side of the game. He's the general. He's the leader. He's in the front of the boat. That's what Deion does, and he knows what he's doing. And, you know, and the players want to play for him, and he motivates them. And that's exactly what he does.
Yeah.
But those coordinators, I mean, ran that offense too.
Well, that's what sold me on betting the hell out of the 21, the money line, and also the over. I have action all over Colorado this year, was the Sean Lewis thing. And then I thought the skill players that they brought were better than what people realized. But, you know, it's going to be fascinating to watch. And, you know, this week you kind of got some low-key good rivalry games. So I'm going to ask you about the week 2. The week 2 slate is phenomenal. As far as great college football games, I think it might be the best college football slate of the whole season. Now, obviously, rivalry week, I think it's up there. Now, you don't have the you know, as many rivalry games, but you also just have Texas Alabama's not a rivalry game, but you have that's a great game. So some of the other ones,
great game, and you have great games. And week 1 in college football, even though we did well and you did well specifically with the betting, because we're gonna have fun no matter what the slate is. But as far as the national audience and your general public, it's kind of always an anticlimactic dud to week 1. You get hyped up for the season, but then the games are like, Oregon scoring 80 points against Portland or some shit.
Yeah,
like that, There's only a handful of actual games.
And I see a lot of juicy dogs this week, man. I see a lot of juicy dogs, man. I know I was high on it last week and it hit, but I'm saying I think there's a lot. But hold on, there's four rivalry games that I jotted down that I want.
That's got to be a clothing line we come out with, at least some merch, right? Juicy dogs.
Juicy dogs, all right. Juicy dogs. Yeah. Let's go, folks. Iowa heads to Iowa State. Iowa only scored 24 points in the opener. Iowa State, on the other side of this, looked way better than I think people thought with all those players out. Yeah. They put it to a good Northern Iowa team, or at least a Northern Iowa team that's projected to be good in the FCS. Yeah. I'm fascinated by this game. I think the line currently sitting at Iowa -4. The over/under sitting at 36.5. Give me a CJ Sullivan bomb. Look, I have a few rivalry games that I want your take on, but then I want a couple bombs you want to give the audience. But tell me about the Cy-Hawk Trophy. Who's taking it home? 4.5 or no 4? I've seen a flat 4 right now. 36.5 the over/under. Right. What are you leaning?
It's always risky betting the Cy-Hawk game, the shit ball. There was a hilarious blog that was written up about the history of this rivalry and how terrible it is. But it's always the second week of the season. Iowa usually dominates this, even when Iowa State is good. Now, this year, it's even extra special. You got both teams buried in gambling controversies. All of their players doing $20 parlays and emotionally edging bets, and are getting caught left and right. There's another slate of names going out there because the whole state of Iowa is full of principals and teachers that report on each other. Because they do everything by the books out there. This might be the only game where both teams are trying to throw it. Like Iowa's got $10 parlays at Iowa State. Iowa State's got a $20 teaser the other way. So they're just going to start fumbling the ball to each other. Here, take it. I got to hit my round robin. No, I got to hit my teaser. You take it back. They're all going to Ronnie Harmon it and toss the ball up in the air before they go in the end zone. When I saw that line, I liked Iowa State immediately just to get the 4 because, I'll take any points versus Iowa. But these games, they're going to have one of their defenses, Well, it all depends if their quarterback, if he's going to play. That's a huge difference between, a guy who's a replacement on a guard because of his $20 bet that he blames his mom on. I love that.
Now the Iowa.
It wasn't me. Yeah, it wasn't me. My mom. She's the one who made 4,000 individual bets during the football season last year.
Hey, you leave Linda out of it. I'm joking. No.
Long shot, Linda.
We're talking the Cy-Hawk Trophy, a.k.a. the D-Gen Bowl. Now,
yes.
One of the things, Iowa State looked a lot better than we thought, but on the other side of it, Iowa's offense, I think, wasn't necessarily the problem. I thought the Iowa defense didn't look as good as the normal Hawkeye defense. They gave up 14. Right. And remember, Iowa State won this a season ago in Iowa City. So I actually think Iowa's going to bounce back. I like laying the 4, even though I think this is going to be a game. I think it's probably going to be you're looking at like a 10-10 game in the 4th. Just give me Iowa to get this thing done, 17-10, something like that.
I know. It's almost like those old military games when those totals are at 38, 39. You can't believe it. Like, yep, play the under. Trust me. Yeah. You're not going to want to sweat the over on this game. But I agree with you. I like Iowa in this game too to bounce back because they usually have the traditional. They have Iowa State will do something.
Sure. Yeah.
But you're right. I was surprised McNamara played in that game, but the defense did seem not as great. But the offense was not the problem.
Yeah, and so I like the under as well. And now we have the old Big 8 or Big 7. You want to go that far back? I don't know if we have any listeners that actually watch the Big 7, but Colorado, Nebraska. Nebraska, Matt Rule, I think twice during the offseason, once in January, once in either March or April, kind of made little shots at Deion Sanders and saying, I don't have a camera crew needing to follow around me. I'm doing it the right way. Deion said he keeps receipts. He says he keeps receipts.
Not only does he keep receipts, he makes them up. So you don't have to give him actual quotes to use because he'll make them up. He just makes up his own chip on his shoulder, which God bless him. He's hilarious to listen to. Whatever it takes to motivate, But you certainly don't need to give him extra motivation because he's going to make up his own line. He was saying the other day how he has this weird chip how the TCU coordinator shunned his son during recruiting.
Yeah,
there's no way in hell.
Kendall Briles,
Hell.
Son of Art Briles, but hold on. So look, here we go.
Who's saying they don't want Deion Sanders' kid as an athlete? Too athletic for our school, I think.
So now we have a scenario though where this line has been insane. If you would have looked at this line a week ago, it was like Nebraska minus 10 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah, Nebraska was laying 10.
Yeah, now Colorado, as far as I see it right now, laying 3, right? They're laying a flat 3. But here's what I find hilarious here is that this is a game that now you got players injured. Miles Slusher, who had the big 4th down stop for the Buffs, he's out. There's more money on this game. According to some tweets that I was reading, so this not 100%, but as far as what I could tell, there's more money on this game than any game in NFL Week 1, right? So money coming in on the Buffs.
Yeah.
Rivalry game. Amazing. You throw the record books out, and so you got the line at 3.
I love that.
What do you do?
Throw the record books out. Throw that 1-0 out, and throw that 0-1 out. Let's go. I know it's 3. So initially you're like, wow, you're getting 13 points of value of a switch.
The over/under at 59.5.
Now that seems high.
Yeah.
Only because look at the pace that Colorado TCU played at is going to be look at the pace Nebraska. Nebraska had the slowest pace. But anyone last week. So they're going to hold this to a grind. If I'm leaning anywhere, it's definitely the under 59. That's way too high of a number.
Especially with the running clock.
Much different.
Especially with the running clock. Now, one thing we didn't see.
So initially, I was just going to say initially I would like Nebraska. Just you would think for the value, but I don't know if they have the players to keep up with Colorado's offense. If Colorado puts up 24 or something like that, I don't see what Nebraska can do.
Yeah, and we didn't see Cormani McClain, the number 1 recruit or number 2 recruit in the nation, depending on what service you use. I think he's gonna play. He's gonna be good to go this Saturday. Same with Alton McCaskill, the former AAC freshman running back of the year 2 years ago. I think they're going to be good to go, and that makes it very tricky. But for me, I'm all over the -3. I know the public money's there.
Yeah.
I just think Jeff Sims, to me, TCU's got a lot better wideouts than Nebraska. So what I think, if I was Charles Kelly, the defensive coordinator for the Buffs, I'm going to load the box against Jeff Sims. And I'm going to make him beat you with man coverage on receivers that I don't think are very good. So,
his passing, like that Minnesota game, we were watching that. He's just forcing it in the end zone, just disgusting.
Yeah, that interception right before the half.
Oh, that was brutal. And at the end of the game, when they were driving down to win it, then how Minnesota won that in regulation is beyond me. They were just handed to them with that. So, I just don't think they'll have the offense to keep up with Colorado. As much as I would like to take Nebraska because of the line value, get on board and take Colorado now because that line's not coming down.
Yeah. Look, I'm all over it. I'm on it -3. All right, but I'd rather be dead than red. All right, like quote Bill McCartney. Okay, next up we got a little brother, big brother matchup here. Appalachian State heading to North Carolina. North Carolina, you see Mac Brown was dancing in the locker room again. Might be a great time to fade the Tar Heels. This game was insane a year ago in Boone when North Carolina went up to the mountains. App State coming in, catching, I believe, 18? Let me make sure that's still accurate. As far as an hour ago, was 18 points, maybe 17.5. 19. I'm seeing 19 right now. The Appalachian State Mountaineers. Now, Ryan Berger, their freshman quarterback, injured, but he started the season, but the backup looked better, in my opinion, last week against Gardner-Webb, which is a very good FCS school. I'm all over apping the 19 here. What do you make of this game?
No, absolutely. I love it. The big letdown for North Carolina. Although North Carolina North Carolina looked great, and that's what you have to go against. That's a big thing. Handicapping is to go the opposite of what you just saw, because you're going to be lined up. I mean, North Carolina was not expecting to have that defense that they had. Maybe some of that was Spencer Rattler doing early Spencer Rattler things, but they look great. I wish this game was up in the Appalachians, though. Who knows what goes up in those Appalachian mountains? You can hide up there for years. you can do some real off the grid living up there to those hill people in North Carolina. So when these two get together, they speak their own language. They protect their own. They don't like outsiders. I'll take the 19.
There we go. Look, and final rivalry game, and this is going to be the end of a rivalry, I believe, is that Stanford and USC have been playing for well over 100 years.
It's a shame. This will be the end.
Yeah, this is terrible, in my opinion, for the sport. But Stanford's catching 30. One of the things I noted in my Week 1 notes, I was really impressed with Stanford at Hawaii. I thought Stanford looked really good. I think they scored 5 of their final 6 drives. And Troy Taylor, I thought he was a very good hire, but I didn't think he'd get it going that fast. I know it's just Hawaii, but at the same Hawaii's defense might be better than USC's. I have no idea. I mean, I kind of think, and this total sitting at 69.5, I say you hammer the over again. Look, it cashed for me again last week. USC alone got 66, I think it was last week they scored.
They put up 66 last week.
The total was 66.5. So
USC overs until further notice. I mean, you just have their autoplay.
Yeah.
But they still have that bad defense, and they score at will, and they're trying to put on a show.
I like taking the 30 too. I don't think Stanford's nearly as bad. I think Stanford's better than San Jose State and better than Nevada. So give me the 30. I think we got I think we ended up getting 30.5 or 31 with San Jose State week 0. I think you play.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a very similar situation to San Jose State. We're going to take the 30 points and the over, and I think they can keep up. They score 28, 35, whatever they'll score, and they're better than San Jose State. They looked better than San Jose State. Obviously. I mean, I think that's way too many points, but that's what you're going to have all year with USC.
Yeah.
Now the over's starting to creep up. 69 is high.
It is, but I'm still not worried about it. I think USC will probably get. Honestly, I think they're probably going to get like 49. Maybe 52, and I think Stanford's going to get. Honestly, I think Stanford's going to get in the 30s. I think Troy Taylor is going to be able to scheme up against this defense. So, bit baffled there. Look, okay, so those are all the rivalry games that I jotted down for you to answer. You got any other bombs you want to give out before we get out of here?
Wow, I don't have any bombs. Like I said, I already threw the UNLV plus 36.5 off the ECU fade after ECU beats up Michigan. Couple dogs I like outright. We like Texas Tech to beat Oregon.
Love Texas Tech to bounce back.
Getting 7. Couple bounce backs. Another one, and the other one is we're going to do with our Pac-10. We did our season previews. The game we picked out before the season started, and that's our Washington State Cougars at home versus Wisconsin.
Oh, let's talk about that because they're honoring Mike Leach this game too. They're honoring Mike Leach, friend of the program. Rest in peace. But this is
max play.
Watching week one. I wasn't sold on Wisconsin against Buffalo. I don't know if you watched that game. I was not sold on Wisconsin at Buffalo, and I ate a big old bag of shit on taking Colorado State to upset Wazoo. Wazoo looked fantastic. Wazoo looks super focused, and so I love them as they're getting 7. They're getting 7 as far as this morning. Unbelievable.
It's because it's that Wisconsin hype train, and Wisconsin made that game look better with the result towards the end. But, they were not impressive there. And like we said this, it's going to take them a while to transition, too. They're not just going to toss in an air raid offense in Wisconsin and have that hit the ground running. Absolutely not. And Washington State, I mean, they have something for you up there with Cameron. I mean, they've
been doing that for a long time.
We look forward to them. Exactly.
All right. Yeah, look, folks, tomorrow we're going to be here picking every single game. All right, myself, Patty C, NC Nick. I'm even going to make them pick that FCS Montana State heading to Brookings, South Dakota to take on South Dakota State.
Yes.
That's a loaded, one of the best FCS games of the season, also going on Saturday. So we got a just unbelievable card. Alabama, Texas, Auburn heading out to Cal to drop acid. You know, you got Oklahoma State heading to Tempe. You got all these great matchups. How about Holy Cross, Boston College? Can we just talk? We should probably talk about that for 5 seconds. Holy Cross, lay whatever number.
Purple Crusaders up in Worcester.
Lay whatever number against them, because I feel like the Crusaders and Matthew Slook are going to lay it on the Eagles.
Yes.
Folks, yes, give CJ
Skip Holtz's old team.
Skip Holtz's old team. Give
He coached Holy Cross.
He did.
Before he went to Maryland.
He did, yeah. Folks, give CJ Sullivan a follow on Twitter at CJ Sullivan _. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD, the college football experience, live from Vegas all week at the Blue Wire Studios inside the Wynn. Shout out to everyone behind the scenes making this happen. We're on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Give us a follow. And remember that not only am I the host of the college football experience, the FCS college football experience, the college basketball experience, the college baseball experience, we come together as one. We have the Big 12 experience as well. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/thecollegeexperience. Subscribe, and also check out the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. CJ Sullivan, you just dropped the Bottom Line Bombs podcast talking NFL, right?
Talking about NFL. Well, I just wrapped up the divisions, and Thursday on the C block, the new C block here on the SGPN. That's the Bottom Line Bombs and the college experience with CJ and the C Generates and Colby D. We'll call it the C block. You know, the Cheers Night Court on CTV duo. Thursday is so the latest edition was great. Some Labor Day recapping. Some college recapping, of course, and the NFC South Division Future Bombs. And then I get into the contest picks on Thursday all year long, Survivor and the Circa 5 Pick Millions.
There we go, folks. Check it out, the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. And tomorrow, College Football Experience will be back at 5:45 Pacific, going live, picking every single game. We don't just give you our favorite plays. We pick every single game, all right? We got you covered, folks. Until next time. This is the College Football Experience, Bottom Line Bombs Down Under edition. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.